Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of new details to share with you guys about the whole Jeffrey Epstein story and Donald Trump's bizarre relationship with him. New stuff that just came out this morning, in fact, as well as some stuff that dribbled out over the weekend, including Epstein being accused, or excuse me, Epstein accusing Trump of being involved in money laundering. Also, Trump did a 180 on releasing the Epstein files, but I'm going to explain to you why one expert is saying this is all smoke and mirrors. This is actually a way for them to hide part of the documents. So I'll explain that in a minute. Also, one of Epstein's victims claims that Ghislaine Maxwell basically offered her up to Donald Trump, or at least made it clear that she wanted this young girl at the time to get friendly with Trump. And you guys know exactly what I mean. Also, Donald Trump has once again refused to rule out a pardon or a commutation for Maxwell. So I have all of those stories and more to share with you, including how the cover-up at Maxwell's prison continues to unfold. So first, check this out. Check out what an Epstein victim had to say. This was in an interview. And sorry, I got to turn on my speakers, but this is in an interview with the BBC. So check this out.
Met Donald Trump, is it right, through Ghislaine Maxwell?
I did, yes, and I met him on several occasions. Ghislaine Maxwell did introduce me to him, and she introduced me to him with a clear message of my being with him in the same way that she had trafficked me and brought me to Jeffrey Epstein.
I mean, we have to ask, why would Maxwell just assume that Trump would be interested in an underage girl, right? She's just like, yeah, I mean, of course he would want to be with her. So, be prepared, young girl. And we're finding that Jeffrey Epstein kept very close tabs on Trump during his first term. So take a look at this. Epstein's pilot, Larry Vysotsky, he repeatedly updated Epstein on Trump's flights. So, for example, in November 2016, Vysotsky wrote to Epstein and he said, quote, "Trump is still scheduled to depart Sunday between 4 and 6 p.m. Let me know if we are firm for Wheels Up Saturday at 6 p.m. still." Now, there could be a simple explanation. It could be like, hey, I don't want to deal with all of the extra security and all the stuff going on surrounding a president taking off or arriving at an airport. But it just seemed over the top. Like in another email, Vysotsky told Epstein, quote, "Updated president-elect schedule. Trump plane to arrive Orlando at 5 p.m. Friday for event. Then arrive Palm Beach, estimate 10 p.m. He usually runs late, so 11 p.m. could be realistic time for his PBI arrival, which is Palm Beach International." So it just seems a little too specific. Like, why does he care what time he's arriving for an event, right? What time I don't know. And then there were quite a few exchanges like this, but this next one really stands out. So in November of 2017, Epstein discussed plans to travel to his island. And Vysotsky told him, quote, "At the moment, we will go to," and he didn't say it, but he meant Little St. James, "on Sunday, the 26th, early then to New York, where I will stay this week. Trump is in town that week." So that's odd, right? That Epstein is so preoccupied with Trump's whereabouts. And again, the reason that this is a big deal is because Trump has said repeatedly that he cut all ties with Epstein before he was arrested and got that slap on the wrist of 13 months of work release. So if Epstein now is saying, I want to be there when Trump arrives, or he's planning his travel around Donald Trump and his comings and goings, that would directly refute what Donald Trump has said, which there's plenty of evidence that I've shared with you guys that also refutes it, but whatever. So I'm wondering if this next bit of news had anything to do with his preoccupation with Donald Trump. So check this out. So the Miami Herald published a report on Saturday, and in that report they cite, and I think other news outlets reported on this as well, but in that article they cite a December 2018 email correspondence, which you see here on your screen. This is between Epstein and an unidentified person, and that person said to Epstein, you can read it here, "It will all blow over. They're really just trying to take down Trump and doing whatever they can to do that." So Epstein replies, "Yeah, thanks. It's wild because I am the one able to take him down." So I think they were discussing like why they were at that point investigating Epstein and all of it, because remember, this is 2018. He was then arrested the next year. So for him to say, "Oh yeah, I could take him down. I'm the one who has the goods on him." So, I mean, I think he, for as smart as this man was supposed to be, I think he was kind of missing the forest for the trees. I think that they were investigating Epstein as an excuse to throw him in prison where he suspiciously died. Like, did he not think that that was a possibility, that Trump would do that to him? And, please, really, do tell, how exactly are you the one who could take Trump down? But, as we all know, I mean, dead men tell no tales. So how convenient that he's not around to tell us what he knows and what he has on Trump. Again, I think Epstein was missing the big picture there. So as you guys all know, Donald Trump is just beside himself over this whole thing. He's having a complete meltdown about these new revelations. He was pressuring members of the House to vote against releasing the files last week. I shared that with you. Well, he has now reversed course. Trump posted on his failing social media site, in part, quote, "House Oversight Committee can have whatever they are legally entitled to." The reason I say it that way is because that last few words, that last phrase, is the key to how they're going to now cover things up. So according to one journalist, he posted this on Twitter today. He said, "The Oversight Committee is allowed to get information from the DOJ on active cases that the rest of Congress cannot get. But a number of different rules allow the DOJ to withhold information at their discretion without even informing oversight." And then he went on to say in another tweet, quote, "Executive privilege lets them withhold anything they believe is required to protect sources and methods, witness identities, deliberative and strategic documents, internal DOJ comms, and this even overrules a congressional subpoena unless Congress can prove to the Supreme Court extraordinary need." So what he's laying out here is that Trump's minions, they can withhold or redact anything that they want. And we will never, not only will we never see it, we won't even know that it's missing. They don't even have to say, hey, we're withholding XYZ documents, or we're going to redact this stuff. And so it's all redacted. And so it's a black page. So we're just not even going to turn it over. We won't even know that. We won't even know that it's missing. So this could be what Trump is planning. This could be what he's up to, and why all of a sudden he's now saying, oh yeah, I told them they should just, release the documents, that Congress should sign on to this and do what they got to do. My other thought is, even if they don't go this route that this man explained, my thought is that he's going to have the Senate block the release of the files. Because remember, if the House votes on it, which they're taking a vote tomorrow, if they say, yes, we're going to pass this, which is pretty much done and dusted, like it's a done deal, they have enough support, they're doing it, they're going to release the file, or they're going to vote to release the files, it then needs to go to the Senate, and they have to approve it as well. So my thought was, the House is more tenuous, right? The House Republicans, they're almost guaranteed to lose their majority next year after the midterms. But Senate Republicans are not as vulnerable. They don't have as many Republicans who are up in vulnerable districts where they have to worry about it as much. So I was thinking Trump may have already received assurances from the senators that, oh yeah, we have enough senators that will vote against it and will block the release. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, because then it's on to Trump. Because if the Senate passes it, then it goes to Trump, and then he has to either sign it or veto it, unless they have a veto-proof majority that approves the release of the files. So in any case, here's what else we learned about the Epstein case and their relationship from all of the Epstein documents that have been released by the estate. So after former Trump advisor Steve Bannon was kicked out of the first Trump administration, he was communicating and strategizing about Trump's presidency with Epstein quite a bit, I might add. There was one exchange that showed Bannon was trying to go visit Epstein. This was in August of 2018. And they were discussing how they could sneak Bannon into Epstein's New York mansion without him being seen by the press. And they figured it out. Epstein was like, hey, I have this other entrance. Nobody will see you. I'll have someone meet you there and they'll walk you in, blah, blah, blah. And in a December 2018 text exchange, Bannon told Epstein that he shouldn't worry about any prosecution because he said, quote, I'm sending you somewhere beyond extradition. Yeah, this is the MAGA champion, Steve Bannon. How gross, right? You have to wonder how this is going to play with the MAGA base. You have this supposed Trump ally who vowed to protect one of the most prolific child predators in history. One thought I had was, and it was, kind of along the lines of what Michael Wolff had done with Epstein, like trying to buddy up to him and befriend him so he would trust him and open up about things. So I was thinking, maybe Bannon was trying to cozy up to Epstein as well so that he could get useful dirt on Trump, right? I mean, not necessarily to get back in Trump's good graces, but so that he had leverage, so he had power over Trump to get and extract from him anything that he wants. Because again, this was after Bannon had been ousted, after he had a falling out with Trump. And then Trump, as you guys might recall, started to refer to him as Sloppy Steve. So there's a newly unearthed text message from Epstein to Bannon, and it kind of confirms this because In June of 2019, Epstein wrote to Bannon and he said, quote, "Now you can understand why Trump wakes up in the middle of the night sweating when he hears you and I are friends." Why would that be? And remember, Bannon supposedly once said that there is only one person who could take down Donald Trump, and that was Jeffrey Epstein. And it seems like it wasn't all about the underage girls, because there was a January 2019 email. And in this email, Epstein laid out the case for how Donald Trump was allegedly involved in money laundering. So take a look at this one. So very lengthy, but buried in here, according to Epstein, Trump was, basically used by wealthy people, that they would pay him and they would allow him, or he would allow them to license his name, which we all know that he did, right? To put on buildings and whatnot. And then Donald Trump would say, "Oh yeah, that's my building." No, it didn't belong to him. His name was on it. And then also in this very long email, Epstein pointed out that Trump made it appear as if he was wealthier than he was, because he would just list the value of his assets, but he would never tell people, "Oh, yeah, I owe X, Y, and Z on that property." So he would never tell people the net value, after you deduct the amount of loans that he had against those assets. So, you can have a $1 billion building, but if you owe, almost $1 billion on it, it's really not worth anything. I mean, you sell it, you don't make any money, right? So anyway, not sure if Epstein had hard evidence against Trump in this regard, or if he was just blowing smoke and, making assumptions. But anyway, check this out. This happened just, I believe, on Friday. Donald Trump was on board his plane. He was about to take off, I think, for probably Mar-a-Lago again. But the press was there as typical, and they start asking him about a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell. So here's what he had to say.
Mr. President, have you ruled out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell?
I haven't even thought about it. I mean, I haven't thought about it for months. Maybe I haven't thought about it at all. You're just asking me a
Why
question.
can't you rule it
but I
out?
don't talk about that. I don't rule it in or out. I don't even think about it.
He is so dumb. He is just so dumb. Huh? I haven't thought about it in months. Maybe I haven't thought about it at all. What? Gina, what'd you have for lunch? I didn't have lunch today. Maybe I have never had lunch. I don't know. Oh my God. He's insane. Anyway, I also have an update to share about the special treatment that Maxwell's been receiving. So an attorney for Ghislaine Maxwell told reporters on Friday that staff members at the prison, at the puppy prison where she's being pampered and treated like a little princess, they have now been fired. I believe it was 4 employees who have now been fired for leaking details to Congress. So this came out, like I said, on Friday. The attorney slammed Congressman Jamie Raskin for releasing some of the information that he got from the whistleblowers. And she said that, oh, well, Maxwell doesn't need a commutation because she's filing a petition with the court based on, quote unquote, new evidence that has come to light. And so she's going to she's going to appeal and they're going to let her out anyway. And so she doesn't need a commutation. That is utter bullshit. The attorney's comments are directly refuted by an email that she got from Maxwell. The email's title was commutation application. But now this woman said, "Oh, nope, we're not going to ask for a commutation because she doesn't need one." Really? So we all know how this is going down right now, right? I mean, I would bet money that the conversations are going something like, look, we've really got a lot of heat on us right now. We need things to calm down in the media before Trump can pull the trigger on this commutation. Just lie low. Don't do anything that's going to draw more attention to the case. As soon as things blow over, we'll get you out. Trump's going to pardon you. Don't worry. Just, keep your client happy and keep her calm and quiet and blah, blah, blah. I can almost guarantee it. So anyway, we'll see. Like I said, now you got Trump pretending that he wants all of these files released and that was kind of always my stance. I mean, he even said, like I told the press on Friday. No, he did not. No, he did not. So flat out lie. But of course, a lot, so much of MAGA isn't going to bother to research it, so they don't even know. They just buy all of his bullshit. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see how things shake out. I'd like to think that this is going to do him in, but we've seen so many other instances where he just wiggles out of stuff, where his base really just does not care. I would hope that child predators would be a red line for them and a bridge too far. And I know that it is for some, but not as many as it should be. So, all right, guys, I'll keep you posted. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.